it probably wouldn't even matter to you if you had one listener or zero listeners, because it almost feels like the real value that you're getting because you have a podcast is having 7 conversations with your ideal client every week and adding value to them, being the go-giver for them. And it seems like you're walking the talk. You're doing what you're telling me. You gave us some advice to use our platform better. And sure, it almost seems like it wouldn't matter if you didn't have a listener, because the real value you're getting is from having 7 conversations published every week.
Okay, so yes and yes, and let me caveat one thing there. Okay, as far as Josh is concerned, in terms of like value from the audience, I'm the guy who's been in the media over 2,500 times. I can tell you it is really easy to overvalue the audience. It's very, very easy to do that. I am there in service to my audience. I have an audience. Now, it would be disingenuous of me to say, well, the only reason that I'm doing a podcast is for the value that I get. It's not. In fact, it really doesn't matter what I get out of it. It has to do everything with what I am giving. So for the guest, I have an obligation to that guest. And first and foremost, I need to be very thoughtful about how can I make this just an amazing experience for the guest? Okay. So yes, I want them to have a brilliant onboarding experience, brilliant from the very beginning, from awareness all the way through, we actually do the interview. I want them to have an amazing experience during the interview. I want them to feel valued. I want them to feel like what they say matters. I have an obligation to connect them with my audience. So if you listen to The Thoughtful Entrepreneur, I am not bashful about who is a great connection for you. What do people do at this point? Like, how can people, I want to make a lot of connections, because I know that if I can demonstrate to them that they get a lot of connections when they come in The Thoughtful Entrepreneur, my audience is trained to not just to listen passively for great ideas and then, okay, I'll file that away. I want them to take action, because I think about this, when I think about great events that I go to, my favorite events are not the ones where I gain a bunch of head knowledge and then I get motivated and rah, and, I'm not going to live in a van down by the river anymore. It's not that. My favorite events are the ones where I go home and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got, a half dozen or a dozen meaningful relationships. That to me, and again, this could be more personality driven, but that's what I go for, because I know 1 + 1 = 11, right? Together. And especially when you think about how joint ventures and strategic alliances work at the professional levels, that's pretty much all, advertising and having to do spammy things. It's that amateur level activity. Professionals don't have to do that stuff. They just don't have to. When you are remarkable enough, and I'm not saying you shouldn't advertise, I'm just saying it's a tax, that if you are remarkable enough and your platform is amazing enough, people will come to you. Here's a startling statistic if you want one, Adam. As of when we're recording this, in 9 days, I will have been 100% inbound. I talk with about 40 of my dream customers every single month. And I do zero outreach, zero. In fact, it was nearly 3 years ago today. I told the team, we were just constantly, we're talking about it on social. We still talk about it on social and stuff, but I don't do any lead gen. Lead gen is for amateurs, in my opinion. Nothing against lead gen. I'm just saying at some point you're going to get to a level in your business where you no longer have to worry about that. And what a fun day that is going to be. That moment happened for us because I paid my dues. I worked my tail off for years and years and years. And it was 3 years ago where I told the team, I'm like, stop talking about the We had 60 people booked to be a guest on our podcast and get to know us and that sort of thing. Again, for the past 3 years, we've really put the governor on that, and people will wait in line 6 to 8 weeks just to talk with me. Right. And then we produce content together. And then the natural next step is hey, why don't we chat and see if there's something we should be doing together? I don't know what it is. It might be I buy their book and that's the end of it. It might be they engage with me. And that's cool too. It might be I hire them. And I can tell you right now, like I love hiring consultants and coaches. I've got probably 10 or more under contract right now because, great service providers, I don't want to do everything myself. Like that's like the antithesis of the E-Myth. I don't want to do that. I don't want to, I want to surround myself with brilliant people and say, I get to be the CEO, I get to be the visionary, and I get to, have the right amazing people do the right stuff. And together we can make a much bigger impact in the world than just me trying to watch YouTube videos and scrounge around for free information so I could do it all myself.